With Halloween the game coming out in a few months, I thought that I should make a video of my own thoughts about the game. Hi, Boo Vessel here, and I know other people have already done this, and I probably won't say anything new or exciting, but I want to share my thoughts anyways. So getting in quickly, my first one is my first worries. When I first saw who was making Halloween, I wasn't sure how to feel. IllFonic and Gun Media, I've seen them before with the Friday the 13th project, and I know Gun Media did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they both kind of had their way of failing. Friday the 13th and its lawsuit is a shame, since it was one of my favorite asymmetrical games ever, and many other people can agree. Not much could be done with the whole lawsuit thing. Some people might even think that it's not a coincidence. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a different story. At first it was a fun game, I thought so back in beta, but after release, the game seemed to feel less and less fun through time. After a bit of time, Gun decided to stop supporting the game. Though the reason isn't clear, many speculate that Gun wasn't skilled enough. They made their money and made a successful game and quit. Something that they were just simply done with the game. I think Gun really cared about the game. I think they tried hard to keep it going, but bugs took a while to fix, the balancing felt like a problem, and finally, Sumo left. The game was passed to Black Tower, which was this other team that some people thought were just like a cheaper alternative. And they had to figure out the spaghetti code in a short time and weren't really up to the task, as they had 5 years of code that they had to rewrite or try to learn. Sadly, we won't fully know the story unless Gun, Sumo, or maybe even Black Tower says something, but they probably won't, which is fine. Overall with this, I was still worried to see Gun working on this. The game looked really good and it made me feel excited, but worried at the same time. With the whole history of Gun Media, I thought maybe this is something I should just pass up. But something I didn't notice is that even though it's the same combo of the Friday the 13th team, Gun Media and IllFonic, this time IllFonic is producing instead of Gun. Also, IllFonic has one last chance in my opinion. If this game fails or dies, it might ruin them forever. Though I'm not big into IllFonic's other games, I have heard that they keep updating the older games, showing that they will most likely keep this game, Halloween, going. To make it feel more promising, IllFonic was given the green light to add things it needs to make it fun, which I kind of just took as they can pretty much make whatever they want up as long as it's fun, which actually gives me hope for the game, allowing me to express some of my excitement. Something I'm really excited for about this game is the jump scare potential. Though I didn't go to PAX and play the game myself, I did watch gameplay videos and heard stories of those who have played. One thing a few people have said was that Michael Myers was actually scary. People were actually getting jump scared. But I even heard one, maybe a couple of people explain that even a Michael Myers who does not know what they're doing can still scare somebody. I do understand though that this whole horror for Michael Myers probably won't last forever, but I do hope that it makes it as long as possible and the game can just be a little bit more scary. Another thing I'm excited for is the objective for the killer and heroes. In this game, the objective is not to focus survival as a hero or just killing everybody as Michael. It also has NPCs that you need to focus on. What makes this amazing from my perspective is that we are playing at the killer's pace. Usually in these kind of games, I've noticed it goes off how the survivors are. Friday the 13th, the survivors could just hide and stall time, and Dead by Daylight was kind of the same. Unless they wanted to do a gen, the killer had a harder time moving the game along. Halloween, the game, has the focus of the NPCs, meaning if a survivor wants to hide or just immediately try to escape, it will leave the NPCs vulnerable and they will die and make the survivors lose the game. Why is that great? Well, because now the survivors have to hurry along and move at the killer's pace. The faster the killer is going for the survivors, the faster the survivors need to move to save them. This also means higher value targets would be harder to protect. Now, instead of looting up, selfishly hiding, or even rushing an exit, you must work together and save the real targets. The fact you need to protect NPCs makes the game less stale. It's not about you surviving fully, but about saving others, giving the game more to do. Along with that, you can also attack the boogeyman, find exits, help NPCs, and even do smaller things like turning on lights or calling the cops. This only leaves one more thing to touch on that other ASIMs seem to fail at: dying. You see, most of the time when you die in these ASIM games, it's back out to the lobby and queue for another game. Especially if you die 5 minutes in the game, you have to wait about 15 minutes before you can get back to the lobby to queue another game. From what I've seen in Halloween the game, players not only help give cards to like living players, I don't know much about that mechanic, but you can also come back as officers or even Dr. Loomis himself. This gives players so many reasons to stay in the game after death, making it so the game's just less stale and more fun and engaging, keeping you in lobbies, getting your XP, and just playing with the same people over and over. Another thing I want to talk about is role queues. There's a lot of speculation going around of if it's going to be killer queues and hero queues and you pick which one you want, or if it's going to be like Friday the 13th where it's kind of randomized on who you're going to be. For a while, I think the best approach was going to be to randomize it and just have it so it's just random for everybody, so you don't have to keep backing out of lobbies and trying to queue what you want to play or swapping around with friends and all that stuff. But after hearing some thoughts of other people on this matter, I actually think the killer hero role is actually better. I think they should do something kind of like what Damned 2 is doing right now, where you get to select and pick if you want to be the killer or what survivor you want to be, and whoever picks killer first can have it, or maybe there's some other way to make it so you don't have to keep backing out of the lobby. Because my biggest issue with the whole selecting if you want to be survivor or killer, let's use Dead by Daylight as an example, is to swap between it. You have to leave the lobby unless you create a private match, and I don't want it so you have to leave your friends and the group of people that you're playing with just to become the killer or just to switch to hero. So hopefully they can figure something out where you can choose who's the killer, you can allow random to everybody, anything to just keep you in the same lobby if you want to be, and still swap around with a chance of being the killer and survivor. And with all these excitements and all these things that I'm just ready for, I also have some fears. What if the game does die, becomes boring, or many other possible reasons to stop playing? The NPCs might be too stupid to make the game more frustrating and less fun. Other players might find ways to troll, soft locking lobbies, or even Michael not trying, forcing a simple grind just to escape with the people. Like Dead by Daylight had nice killers, and it was one of the most boring things that could happen. Though most of these fears will probably linger until release date or some sort of beta, I do have hope for IllFonic and hope that they can make this game special. Another fear I have is the progression system. In this game, we need something that's going to keep us going, or it's going to become a solved game, I like to call it. A solved game is where you unlock everything and no longer need your blood points or your XP, and that's when backing out starts to happen, trolling, and ruining the fun for others. So we need something that's going to make us play at our very best every time. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's actually even possible to create a system that makes you want to keep trying your best and not to throw because you'll always get something out of it. The potential for future content is also pretty cool. IllFonic has the green light to do whatever they want to make the game fun. If this means what I think it means, and they can make up anything they want just to keep the game fun, this means even if the game seems to be staling out, they can add whatever they want, hopefully on theme and not desperate attempts to keep the game alive. This could be anything from new kill animations, new outfits that weren't in the movies, different abilities, new maps, new characters, more weapons, and so much more. This increases the chance of the game living longer, but it could also be a double-edged sword. If they keep making all this stuff up and it's not really fitting on theme or isn't really feeling like Michael Myers anymore, the game could also die because of that. Along with future content, we also have bug fixes that should be focused on, also improving the game's animation quality. For example, clipping through the doors, moving through fences, or even knocking Michael down would be nice. There are even some kill animations that could be touched up a bit. Sometimes in the finishers, they put way little amount of force into an attack and it does massive damage to the person that Michael's attacking. And it just kind of feels weird and not really immersive. So hopefully they can kind of update that through time. That might even be happening as we speak before the release of the game. There are still some things about the game I'm not too sure on yet. One being the stealth system. How much stealthier are you when you're crouching around? How do survivors stay out of sight of Michael if they have more careful playstyle? What might cause the heroes to be seen or heard? I'm hoping overall the stealth system feels reliable with less fear, allowing for early game to help you stay hidden and safe, avoiding too early of deaths. IllFonic is aware that when it and other teams announce games based on popular horror IPs like Halloween, fans get bummed when they learn it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game, and wanted to include a single player campaign for them. Along with single player campaign, Jared Gerritsen, I hope I didn't butcher that too badly, said it's not just for the ones who want single player, but also a way to teach the players how to play Michael in multiplayer. So single player will be kind of like a tutorial. Along with single player, it would be awesome if we could get a bot Michael. Something sad about Friday the 13th was when the servers went down, I would be able to play private matches, but I could only play as Jason. It made me sad knowing I couldn't actually play survivors with a bot enemy and bot teammates. Though that'll probably be difficult to make and probably will not happen, it would be nice to somehow have it. Now, I understand the game is months away. Usually, IllFonic and Gun like to have a beta test. I assume to test the servers, but to allow people at home to play. I know PAX was like a beta, but I think there's going to be another one that focuses more on like the connections and server stuff. I would like to guess we'll hear something about beta in the next month or two. In fact, if I had to guess, I think there will be a beta within these next 2 months. Fingers crossed to get both beta and access to it. It's clear many people are excited for this game, and I am too. These next few months are going to be long, so any update, video, and especially beta will be on my radar, since this is something I cannot stop thinking about. What are your thoughts about the game? Do you think it'll die fast? Do you have anything you're excited or worried about? Do you have plans to pre-order the game if given the chance? Leave your answers, suggestions, thoughts, or questions in the comments below. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching.